Tina. Today I'm going to show you how to make the matching earrings for the crystal lace necklace and of course the bracelet. So this is the entire set, and with the earrings that will finish the set for us. So let's go ahead and, well, let me pick it up so you can see what they look like close up here. They're really pretty. And let's go ahead and look at the material list. Okay, for this project today, we will be using 6mm, 3mm, and 4mm bicone crystals. My 6mm is a clear Swarovski crystal, and the same with my 3mm, it's a clear Swarovski. And then my 4mm is a Jet AB Swarovski crystal. And all three are bicones, of course. Then we will be using 2 colors of 11O seed beads. I'm using Toho in both colors. I will be using the galvanized aluminum silver tone in one and the nickel plate in the other. And then 8O seed beads, which are also the nickel plate Toho. I will be using 2 ear wires, and these are also nickel color, nickel tone ear wires. They're just a simple French wire. We will be using nanofill or Fireline. I'm using 10 pound, but you would be better off with an 8 pound nanofill or a 6 pound Fireline. Just so that you, as you travel through these beads a few times, you'll have more room to move. It just makes it easier. And a size 12 beading needle. You can use a 10, however, the same issue applies as with the thread. It gives you more room to move through your beads if you use a size 12. What I'm going to do in this particular video, this is the earring we're going to be making. These components that we're going to be making are exactly the same as in the necklace tutorial. So I'm going to use the footage from the necklace tutorial for the components. So if I refer to a necklace instead of earrings, just ignore that. I'm just going to take that segment, put it in here in this video, and then after the component has been made, that part, I will make the earrings instead of the necklace, of course. So if I refer to leaving 2 with long threads or whatever, don't worry about it too much. We will, however, be making 4 components, and we will on 2 of them start with just an arm's length of thread. So you will want to stretch your arm out to your side and measure from your fingertips to your shoulder, your collarbone, something like that, and on 2 of them. And then on to the other 2, you are going to want to stretch your arm out, measure from your fingertips all the way over to your opposite shoulder. And that should be more than enough thread to make your component and put your earrings together. So 2 of them long thread, 2 of them shorter thread. Let's go ahead and get started. Pick up 3 of your 11O seed beads of one color, and then your accent. The accent color is the one that's going to show the most. So 3 of the silver, 1 of the nickel, 3 more of the silver, 1 of the nickel, 3 more of the silver, 1 of the nickel, and 3 more of the silver, 1 of the nickel. So what you should have onto your needle is 4 11O seed beads divided by 3 of 11O seed beads of another color. So start with your series of 3 and end with your 1. And this is what it should look like. Now, bring this down to the end of the thread. You don't have to leave a long tail, just enough to hold on to. Bring it around in a loop, and from the tail side, come up your first few seed beads. I like to go until I exit the first darker colored seed bead, and just hold on to your thread and pull that into a circle like so. And then go ahead and sew back through all of the beads. If I can get myself organized, I will do that. There we go. And I just sew through them 4 at a time. Just because that's the way I like to do it. Doesn't really matter. Once you get back to where your threads meet, you're going to go ahead and go through a few more sections just to secure the thread a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and go through until I reach the next darker colored seed bead, and then one more time. Just that way my beads won't slide off the end of my thread so easily. It just secures it a little bit more because we're not tying a knot. Pull on your threads, your tail and your working thread, and make a nice little circle like so. Now we are going to pick up 2 of our 11 seed beads in our first color we used, and 1 in the darker color. So 2 aluminum, 1 nickel, and 2 aluminum. So I have 4 needs. I have 4 beads onto my needle like so. I'm going to go from this dark bead that I'm coming out of. Make sure as you sew around and you exit, you're exiting one of your darker beads, and then just go into the next dark bead on the side from which your thread is coming out. So don't cross over the bead. Go directly to the next bead on that side and pull. If your circle loosens, just pull on your tail a little bit. Tuck the tail behind and do the same thing again. 2 of your first color and 1 of your second color bead, and then 2 of the first color like so. And then I'm just going to go from this bead, my thread's coming out this direction of course, so I'm going to go here into the next dark bead and pull my needle through like so. And then again, I'm going to pick up 2 of my lighter color, 1 of my darker color, and 2 of my lighter color. Go through the next dark bead. And one more time. 2, 1, 2. And go to the first bead we started in. So we're coming from this one, we're going to go into this one and go into the beads in the original circle and exit the next dark bead. So I will show you what I have here. I missed my dark bead. Let me go through it like so. And then just pull all of these beads down like so. And you should have this funny looking little square thing. And then, now that we're coming out of this bead right here, we can add our first layer of crystals onto the component. So we're going to use the Jet AB here, and I'm going to pick up 1. And I'm coming out of this bead here. My thread is coming out of this side of the bead, so I'm going to go into the very next bead here and pull that crystal tightly between the 2 11-0s like so. And it's not going to be incredibly tight yet until we get the rest of them on. So you're going to see a tiny bit of thread, and it's not going to lay in there beautifully, but it will once we go around more. So now we're coming out of this 11-0, we're going to go into this 11-0 here, pick up a bicone crystal, and pull it down into the little triangle on the corner here, like this. Tug on your thread, make sure it's in there nicely, pick up your next bicone, go from this bead to this bead. And pull that bicone down. As you do this, as you pull, you're tightening the bicones between each section of 11-0s. One more time, pick up a bicone, go from this bead to the one we started in, and into the first crystal. You can do that on the second step, so just go into the first 11-0, pull tight, and then hop up just into the crystal, none of the seed beads, just the crystal here. Give it a good little tug. Now pick up some 3mm bicone crystals, and you're going to go from 4mm to 4mm, placing a 3mm in between these crystals. So I'm coming out here, I'm going to pick up a crystal and go into my next crystal and give it a little tug, like so. Pick up my next crystal and go from this crystal to this crystal. And pull. One more crystal, go into the next crystal, and pull. Make sure that your thread doesn't cross underneath your crystals, that your crystals are laying pretty tightly and nicely between the bigger crystals. And one more time. And see my thread twisted, so I'm just going to untwist it and pull that in there the best I can get it in there, like so. Now I'm coming out of this bigger 4mm bicone crystal. We are going to go down into this recessed darker 11-0. So go down into the it. You can see it better from the back if you want to turn it over. And then go into the 3 seed beads behind it so that you're exiting the corner bead here. This is what you should have. Now pick up 3 of your darker 11-0s, or whatever color you're using in the corner here. We're going to pick up that color, back off just a little. So I have 3 of them. I'm coming out of this side of the 11-0. I'm going to go into the opposite side of the 11-0 and into the 2 beads behind it, like so, and pull. Then I am going to pick up an 8-0 seed bead. And I'm going to go from these 2 11-0s I'm coming out of and place an 11-0 in between that space there. So I'm going to go into the next 3 11-0s, exit the corner, and pull this 8-0 down between the 2 sets of 11-0s, like so. Then I'm going to pick up 3 of my 11-0 seed beads, again, the same color as my corner bead, and go into the opposite side of that bead that I'm coming out of and form a picot. I'm going to go into the next 2 11-0s. Of course, you could slide through picking them up like we did the first time too. That's fine, however you want to do it. If your beads seem to slide, just pull on your tail a little bit. That will tighten real soon and you won't have that issue anymore. But for a little while, they can loosen and you just pull on your tail thread and it tightens them. Now we're coming out of these 2 11-0s, we're picking up an 8-0 seed bead, and we're going to go into the next 3 beads so that we're exiting the corner here, like so. Then pick up 3 11-0s and then go back through the opposite side of the bead you're coming out of and the 2 beads behind it, and pull. Pick up an 8-0 seed bead, go into the next 2, or actually 3 11-0s until you're exiting the corner bead again. Make sure your beads slide down nicely between the beads on the component, and pick up 3 more 11-0 seed beads. Go into the opposite side of the bead you're coming out of and the 2 11-0s behind it, and pull. Pick up an 8-0 and go into the next 3 beads. You will be exiting the bottom bead in the first picot you made, and pull. Now this one's twisted, so I'm going to untwist it and pull it back down into there. Now, I'm going to move my 11 O's out of the way here, and I am going to get some of my 3mm bicone crystals, and what we're going to do now is we are going to go from this 11O seed bead we're coming out of into this crystal here. So we're going to pick up a crystal, and we're going to go into the crystal on the unit, the very first one, in the direction our thread is coming out of, and pull. Like so. Then pick up another crystal and go into the 11O in the next picot. So the very bottom 11O, we're going to go into there and pull. Your thread is going to want to twist. Just keep directing it until it straightens out and your bicone crystal lays very nicely next to the middle bicone. Now we're coming out of this picot again, pick up a crystal, go into the next crystal in the center circle, and pull. Make sure there's no slack, but be careful as you're pulling through these crystals. They're sharp and you can break your thread. So pull directly through. Do not pull to the side and cut your thread on the edge of the crystal. Now, we're coming out of the middle crystal. We're going to go into the next bottom picot. Pick up a crystal and slide it down, like so. And again, pick up a crystal, and then go into the middle crystal. And we're just going to do this all the way around the component, giving it a little tug after each crystal is placed, and then go into the next picot. You have to have nice tension on this or it will not look very pretty. And it kind of pulls your unit together a little bit. You'll see that it kind of raises the picots and it kind of pulls it together, and that's fine. You want that. You do not want this to be all sloppy and separated. So you're coming out of the picot here, come into the middle crystal here, and pull. And then one more time, pick up another crystal, and go into the picot we started in, here. Pull this all nice and tight. Go down into the next two 11O seed beads. If you'd like, you can turn the unit over. It will be easier to see. So I'm coming out of this 11O here. I am going to go into these two 11Os here, like so. I am then going to grab the thread bridge between the 8O and these two 11Os, put my needle underneath it, make a loop, and go through the loop, and gently guide my thread down until I make a knot between those two beads, like so. And then I'm going to sew into the 8O and the next two 11Os here, and I'm going to cut off my thread. Just cut it off flush and then cut off your tail. If you'd like to burn down the tail a little bit, that's fine, but you don't really want to do it over here because you could block your beads. And we need to sew through them again. And that is how you will make your components. And like I said, two of them you will leave long thread on, and all the rest of them you'll just tie and cut off like I just did. So you're going to continue making these components until you have 4 units. Of course, I have already made 2 of mine into the design as I was designing anyway. I've already made one of the earrings. So you will make 4 components, and like I said earlier, 2 with long threads and 1 that you've tied completely off. Take the one with the long thread and sew until you're coming out of the top of one of the picots. Let me get you closer and I'll show you. So I've sewn around until I'm coming out of the top of a picot. Doesn't matter which one. At this point it can be any one. And then take your other component and lay it on top. And then pick up an 11-0 seed bead. You're coming out of this picot, you're going to go into this picot here and add the bead in between to connect them. Then on the same side, so you're coming out of this side, you're going to go into this side of the other component. Then pick up another 11-0 seed bead and go down into the same one you started in on the opposite side. So we're just making a unit of right angle weave using the two beads that are already on our units, like so. Get this a little closer. Now I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to sew through all these beads to secure this. So I'm just going to sew through the two beads I added and the two beads on the units until it's firmly connected and not wobbly anymore. Now I have connected it. I'm going to sew back up into the top and then into this unit here. So I'm going to go up the side bead here and then into the bead on the unit I connected and then into the side bead on that unit here. Whoops, I got up through the crystal. You don't want to go through the crystal. Just the 11-0 and then into the 11-0 here. I'm going to turn it over and sew into this 8-0 seed bead because it's easier to see from the back. So now I'm going to sew through, I'm coming out of this 11-0 here. I'm going to go into these two 11-0s next to it and pull my thread through. And then I'm going to go into this 8-0 seed bead here and turn it back over. I'm coming out towards the outside of this 8-0 seed bead. So I want to do the outside portion of my crystals. So I'm going to pick up an 11-0 and I'm going to pick up a 6mm bicone crystal and then an 11-0, a 6mm bicone crystal, and an 11-0, like so. I'm going to drop these down and then I'm going to go through the 8-0 on the same side I'm coming out of. I'm going to go through the opposite 8-0 on the opposite unit and pull. And then I'm going to pick up an 11-0 seed bead, a 6mm bicone crystal, and an 11-0 seed bead, like so. And I'm going to go from this 8-0 to this 8-0 on the inside. So just go into the opposite bead on the same side you're coming out of and pull. And then we have to sew through all these beads to secure them. So I'm just going to turn it over and I'm just going to sew through all of these beads. I'm coming out of this 8-0 here. Let's get a little closer. And I'm going to sew through all of these beads I just added to secure them. And then down into this 11-0 and this crystal. Into the 8-0. And then I'm going to sew back around one more time just to get up to my 8-0. So I'm going to go through these crystals one more time. Then I will go through this 8-0 seed bead. And I have to sew over to this 8-0 seed bead to do the same thing on this side of the earring. So I'm going to go through these two 11-0s right here, right next to the 8-0 seed bead I'm coming out of, and the 11-0 in the corner of the unit, right there, and pull my thread through. So I'm coming out of the 11-0 that we attached the right angle weave to, right in the corner here. Now I'm going to go up into these two 11-0s and pull my thread through, and then go into this 8/0 seed bead right here. And I'll turn it over just so we can see where I'm at, like so. And make sure you don't pull those so tight that it pulls everything out of whack. No slack, but don't pull it to where it's curved. Just nice and neat, like so. And then we're going to do the exact same thing on this side. Let me back off just a little bit. And I'm going to pick up an 11/0 seed bead, a bicone crystal, 6mm, an 11/0, a 6mm bicone crystal. That's not a 6. And then I'm going to pick up an 11/0, like so. I'm going to go from this side of the 8/0 seed bead in this component to the same side in the opposite component, right here. And pull. And then I'm going to pick up an 11/0 seed bead, a 6mm bicone, and an 11/0 seed bead, and come up into the 8/0 seed bead on the inside here, just like we did on the other side, and pull these units together. Now I'm going to take this right angle weave in the middle and set it over the top so that it puckers kind of over the top of everything. Otherwise, you'll have it all crooked and funny, and the two units won't pull together nicely. So just lift that up over the top, turn this over, and sew through all of your beads again. Sorry, my hands are a little shaky this morning, and they don't seem to want to do what I want them to do. Okay. Now we'll go ahead and sew through this part here and get back into the top unit, and then we'll just sew all the way up to this top picot here. So we're going to go back into the crystals here and give it one more reinforcement of thread. And now we have to sew all the way up to this top picot. So we have to go the direction our thread is going in, our original thread path. So we're going to have to sew all the way around the unit. So go into this 8/0 seed bead, and then go into the 11/0s on the other side of it, and into the corner 11/0 if you can grab it. And push your needle through. Now these are at a funny angle, so it makes your needle a little stiff. Just pull it through gently with some pliers if you need to, and then travel up these on this side. Don't forget to go through the 8/0 here. Pull it back into alignment. I've kind of pulled it out, putting my crystals on. And then I'm going to go up through these 11/0s here, and that should pull my 8/0 back into place. So I'm going through all three of these 11/0s right here. And I will pull this, and that 8/0 should come back up into there a little bit better. I may not, when I made my components, I may not have sewn that in there very firmly. And then into these 11/0s here. So I'm just sewing till I get to the top of my unit. And I've sewn all the way until I am in the 11/0 seed bead right in the top here, and turn it over so you can see where I'm at. Now, I have to look at my other one to remember how I did this. Now we're going to sew to the top of the picot here. So just go into this side bead, and then go into the top picot right there, like so. And then we are going to pick up, trying to remember how I did this, guys, sorry. I designed it a couple days ago, so we're going to pick up a 3mm bicone crystal, and then we are going to pick up an 11-0 seed bead, a 3mm bicone crystal, and an 8-0 seed bead, and then we will grab one of our ear wires. So let me back off a little here. So this is what I have: a 3mm bicone, an 11-0, a 3mm bicone, and an 8-0. And I'm going to drop this down, and then I'm going to go through my ear wire. Make sure your ear wire is tightly closed with some pliers before you do this, and then go through the ear wire, making sure that the ear wire is the proper direction to wear. So you want the hook part down towards your bead mat. And then go through the 8-0 seed bead and the bicone crystal. Oh, great. Sorry, guys. They're vacuuming upstairs. It's very loud. And then we're going to pick up an 11-0 seed bead and a bicone crystal. Man, that is really loud. Okay, so we've dropped down our 11-0 seed bead and our bicone crystal, and we're going to come back through the 11-0 seed bead in the picot now, like so. And then we're going to sew through this again. So go through the 3mm bicone crystal, the 8-0 seed bead, and the ear wire. And then sew back down. So into the 8-0 seed bead, make sure you're through that ear wire, and then go into this side, the 11-0 and the bicone on this side. And then go into the 11-0 seed bead, right in the middle there. Now we're going to sew up through this one more time. So go up through these bicones, hardwood floors sound really loud when someone's vacuuming upstairs. So into this one, and then down into this one. And now we're going to go through the 11-0 and the bicone and exit the bicone right here. Just exit that bicone crystal. And then you are going to pick up an 11-0 seed bead and then one of the black AB crystals, the 4mm crystals. And then we're going to go through this 8-0 seed bead. So we're coming out of the bottom of, whoops, we need to come out of the bottom of this crystal here. I thought I exited that, but I didn't. As you sew down through, go through the 11-0 and the crystal, the 3mm bicone crystal, right there. And then pick up an 11-0 seed bead and your black bicone crystal, and then go into this 8-0 over here and pull. Now this wants to tangle and do weird things, so just straighten it out so that it lays really nicely between those beads. And then turn it over, and we are going to sew back around the entire thing, and it's going to be easier if we sew through the middle because we've sewn through the outside so many times. So what we are going to do is, actually we don't have to sew around the whole thing. I'm sorry, I lied. What we are going to do is we are going to go into this 11-0 seed bead right here, right underneath the 8-0. Just go into that recessed 11-0, pull through, and that should line everything up really nice. Go into these 3 11-0 seed beads right here. and then into the recessed 11-0. So it's kind of hard to get to, but you can do it. Just see how I just pushed my needle through there? And then we're going to go up into this 8/0 seed bead right here. I am so sorry for all the noise, guys, but I really don't have time to remake this. So I am really apologize. And we're going to pick up a 4mm bicone, an 11/0 seed bead, like so. And we're going to go up through this bicone crystal right here, and the 11/0 on top of it. Then we're going to sew through the top through the ear wire again and straighten everything out. So we'll go through here, right here, then we'll sew back through the 8/0 again, and then we'll sew down through this 11/0 and the 4mm bicone and the 4mm black bicone right there, down into the 8/0 seed bead and the two 11/0s underneath that 8/0 seed bead. Let me get you a little closer. And then we will tie a knot right here. Actually, yeah, let's just tie a knot right here. We're going to go between this 11/0 and this 8/0 seed bead right by the picot here. Just make sure when you do this that your thread does not grab any of your beads, like so. Pull it down in between the beads very carefully. And then I'm going to sew down into this 11/0 and these two 8/0s. And because I know that noise is going to start again, I'm going to cut this off and burn this down. Right here. And you now have a set of earrings. Let me grab the necklace so you can see what it looks like with the necklace. I'll back off here. I hope I was in frame. Grab this necklace. And straighten it out a little bit, and I'll show you what we got. Okay, so that is your set, and the bracelet is too far away, otherwise I'd add it too, but that's what that looks like together. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Sorry for all the noise. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.